doing today, guys? Welcome back to another wonderful day of 7th grade math. This is Mr. Gomez, your favorite teacher in the whole world. And today, we're going to be able to write, solve, and graph inequalities. Okay, so everybody has this paper right here. Before we start, please subscribe, turn the notification bell on, all that good stuff. And let's go ahead and get to this. So, this is prior knowledge that you should know these signs right here. How will you call these signs? What is a funny way that you heard about these signs? Alligators. What else? Crocodiles. What else? Pac-Man. Okay. Why Pac-Man? Okay, so it's the small ones, right? Okay, so I was actually watching a TikTok there yesterday, I think, I believe it popped out. This Spanish from Spain teacher was teaching this to, like, I don't know, maybe first graders, second graders. And she was saying that the big numbers were throwing arrows to the small numbers. And that kind of made sense too as well, right? So as what we know, and the way I learned this is like the small one, it's the big one. So whenever this was taught to me, it says the small one, it's the big one. So we have 4 different signs that we're going to be using, and let's go ahead and start talking about this. If we look, I'm just going to number them because I want to reference these back. So I'm going to call this 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So the first one, what will you call the first one? No, I mean, what sign is it? What is the keywords associated with that? Less than. Let's put that in here. Less than. The second one? Greater than. Very good. Does he have an H in there or no? Greater. No. Okay. The next one. Less than or equal to. Very good. Less than or equal. And the last one? Greater than or equal, more than or equal. Okay, very good. So let me show you something. This keywords right here, this is for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And parentheses, this is going to be very helpful whenever we write equations or whenever we're trying to solve word problems. So I kind of made a few notes over here. So greater than, more than, exceeds, is over, is above. So we have a bunch of different things that we're going to be able, that if we come up with, we can identify them and then go from there. And these notes are available on the notebook. And also I have a condensed version over there on the anchor charts on the wall by that student back there on the wall. Raise your hand. There you go. So I have those posters right there, so that can help you with this as well. And now that we know this, what is different between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4? What's different between them? 3 and 4 have a line. The line on the bottom, you mean? What does that mean? What does that tells you? Anybody? What does the line on the bottom tell you? Is equal to. Okay, so now these are also, whenever we graph them, they're going to be represented with circles. Okay? Y'all remember the circles? We have, what is it? You said it? Did I hear somebody say? What type of circles do we have? Open and closed. So which one will be open and which one will be closed? 1, 2 will be open, and 3 and 4 will be closed. Very good. So this is just like this. This is when we graph them. Those are the circles that we're going to be using. So basically, the main difference between these two is that the 1 and 2, whatever answer you get is not included as the solution set, and on 3 and 4, the answer that you get is included on the solution set. That's what it means. Okay? So we have a few examples right here. The next part, we have words, algebraic, and a graph, and possible solutions. So we're going to go over all of this. The first one says, x is greater than -1. So what sign are we going to be using? 1, 2, 3, or 4 for greater than -1. So I know I have x, and then I have -1. What sign will I be using? 1, 2, 3, or 4? What is it? 2, number 2, greater than. Very good. Now, when I went to graph this, if I look at number 2 has an open circle. So all I have to do is locate my -1 on the number line, put an open circle, and then make a line point. In what direction is this pointing? To the right or to the left? It's pointing to the right, so all I gotta do is make a line that way, and that means that everything after -1 to the right is included as one of my solutions, as my possible solution. So in here, is -1 included? Is -1 included? No, it is not included. What about -0.9999? Is that more than -1? Yes, so that can be the answer. So the possible solutions, if we're keeping this as whole numbers, can be 0, 1, 2, all the way to positive infinity. Any of those solutions can be my answer. For example, if I take 3 right here and put it right here, is 3 greater than -1? Yes. But if I put -2, is -2 greater than -1? Was over here is before -1, so that's less, so no, it's not. So that's basically what is this. You can just check your answers and plug them into the value of x, so the variable. Let's look at the next one. M sine -2. What word can we use for that sign? M is what? Open or close? Open. So I'm going to go to -2, put in an open circle. Am I going to go to the left or to the right? What way is it pointing to? Look at the tip of the arrow, and it's pointing to the left. So I mean, it's all this, right? So M is less than. So as long as it's less than -2, I'm good. So you can go from -infinity, -100, -3, all the way to, that's it, right? It cannot be any of those. Those are possible solutions. So far, so good? Now for the next one, I have a dot at 0. Is that open or closed? So what sign are we going to be using? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 or 4, very good. Now, what way is it pointing to? To the right or to the left? To the right, so it has to be sign number 4. So something greater than or equal to 0, and we're just going to call this x. So when I write the words for this, I can just say x is at least 0. At least, that's another keyword for greater than or more than or equal. Okay? So possible solutions, is 0 included? Yes. So 0 is one of them. Then 1, 2, all the way to positive infinity. Any of those solutions will satisfy. So far, so good? Any questions so far? Anybody? Pretty easy, pretty simple stuff? All right, so next two. The G sine -1. Open or close? Close, so that means it's either going to be 3 or 4. What way is it pointing to? To the right or to the left? Right, so it's going to be 4. So I'm going to go to -1, make a closed dot. And everything to the right of it is good to go. So you can say -1, 0, 1, all the way to positive infinity. Right? So when I write this, G is what? What can we put in here? Look at the posters right there, and let's use something different. G is at minimum -1. Right? You can use the same one all the time. I don't care. Okay? But I'm trying to, because these are going to be different words different keywords that are going to come up on word problems. Now the next one, open or close? Open. So that means it's going to be what? The first half or the second half? First half. So it's either 1 or 2. Which one is it? What way is it pointing to? To the left or to the right? To the left. So it's going to be the number 1. Less than. Less than 1. We call this x. And literally x is less than 1. And possible solutions? What can I put in here? Can I put 1? No. I cannot put 1 because it's not included. But can I put 0? Can I put -1? -2? All the way to negative infinity. Any questions so far? So far pretty easy, right? Something that we already knew. Okay, let's move on. To solve an inequality, you need to isolate the variable by completing the opposite operations on both sides of the inequality. And what does it say right there at the bottom? In parentheses? Just like we did in equations. So now we're going to move to inequalities. They're not called equations anymore because for equations, you have, on equations, we use the equal sign. That's why they're called equations. Equal, right? For inequalities, we're going to use the signs that we just talked about. But the process to solve them is going to be the exact same way. So we're going to solve them the exact same way except for one rule. We only have one rule, and we're going to go over that rule in a little bit. So if you haven't, please subscribe. Make sure you stick up for when we go over that rule because you don't want to miss that rule. Okay. Solve the following inequalities. I'm going to do one with you. Pick one. I don't care which one you pick. 1, 2, or 3. Let's do number 2. So for number 2, and all of this, we're going to do what we did before. We're going to make my line right here. We're going to identify the friend and the family. So in this case, which one is my friend? 13. What is the 13 doing? Subtracting. And my family is? 5D. And what is the family doing? Multiplying. We're going to solve them the exact same way. There's no difference on this, okay? So, what do we do first? Get rid of the friend. The friend is doing what? Subtracting, so we have to add 13. And what I do to one side, it says both sides, right? We do to the other side. Very good. So when I do this, I get my 0 pair, and 32 plus 13 gives you 45. Family hasn't done anything, so let's bring them down. Bring them along for the ride. Bring the inequality sign, because we haven't done anything to it, right? And now the family was doing what? Multiplying. The opposite of multiply is? And we're going to divide by that 5 on both sides. When I divide 5 divided by 5, I just get 1D. And 45 divided by 5 is? 9. And bring my sign along. And this is my answer. D is less than 9. That's the answer. So D less than 9. And if I want to graph this, is it an open or closed circle? Open. Is it going to go to the right or to the left? To the left. So this is a really quick and simple, great way to graph it. Like if I ask you to graph it, this is all you have to do. You don't have to make the number line and all that like that. Let me show you a quick, super fast way to do this. You make the circle that you want and check where is it going. Is it going to the left? So I'm going to make the circle a little bit to the right or where I want to make my line. It's going to be open. I'm going to put in the 9 right there. And then if it's going to the left, I'm just going to do this. That's my graph. Super fast and easy. Any questions so far? All right. Now, numbers 1 and 3 are the same. Now, number 4, if you stick around this long, this is great because now we're going to talk about the only rule that we have that is different from equations. And let's go ahead and, which one y'all want me to do? 4, 5, or 6? It doesn't matter. Who says 5? Raise your hand. I have 3 5s, 4 5s. Who says 6? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do 6. Same thing. Make your line. Okay? We identify friends and family. Who's the friend? 9. So 9 is the friend. Is adding. Very good. Who's the family? Negative 4v. Very good. Family. And is doing what? Is multiplying. Okay? Number and a letter together. They're multiplying. We're going to follow the same steps to the end. Okay? So friend. Let's get rid of the friend. What is the friend doing? Adding. The opposite of add is? Subtract 9. Keep track of your signs. Okay? So this is your 0 pair. 2 negatives you add and keep the sign. So 7 plus 9 is 16, but it has to be negative. Bring the sign down. Less than or equal. It's negative. And then family, bring them along. Negative 4b. Next step. What is the family doing? Multiplying. The opposite of multiply is? Dividing. So we're going to divide by? Negative 4. Very good. What I do to one side? I do to the other side. Okay. So now, before I divide, this just going to make 1. That's B. Okay. And on this side, pay attention to your sign rules. Negative and negative. Happy or sad? Happy. Happy. So the answer must be positive. 16 divided by 4 is just 4. Now, before I put my sign, this is what I want you to pay attention at. What did we do there? Divided by? Negative 4. That's the key part, the only rule that we have to make an exception from regular equations. When you multiply or divide by a negative number, like we did just now, all you have to do that is different is to flip the sign. So instead of going to the left, now it's going to go to the right. That's the only thing that you have to do. And it's only when you multiply or divide by a negative number. Okay? So like over here we subtracted. Don't worry about that. We didn't multiply or divide it there. It's only when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you flip the sign. You flip the tortilla. All right? Flip the tortilla so it won't burn. That's all you have to do. That's the only thing that is different. Now, so that means that whenever you have a number with a variable that is negative, if you have answer choices, just look up the signs, because whenever you have something like this, like on 4 and 5, 4x, negative 4x, that's multiplying, right? Number 5, negative 6y, that's multiplying. So you know that at the end you're going to have to divide by that negative 4, and the sign has to flip. So if you look at the answer choices, look for the answer choice that has the sign flipped at the end. Also, if you have a fraction, a negative fraction, like let's say x over 5, negative, that is dividing by a negative number, so at the end you will have to multiply by a negative number, and you follow the same steps. That's the only thing. You flip the sign. Whenever you have something, like if you had plus 5 is greater than 12, at the end, the answer will be to the left. Okay? Now, let's look at graphing this. Is it going to be open or close? Close. Is it going to go to the right or to the left? Right. So I'm going to make a closed circle. I'm going to put in a 4 right there and go this way. And that's my graph for that. So when you multiply or divide, both sides by a what? Negative number, you must flip the inequality symbol. Flip the tortilla. Flip the tortilla, right? That's the only difference when you multiply or divide by a negative number. Now let's look at the word problems. Oh, let's look at this work here. Less than and greater than symbols are represented with the what circle? These two symbols right here. Open circle, very good. And these two, they're represented by closed circles. Very good. All right, so now let's go ahead and move on and talk about word problems. Y'all can work on this by yourselves. And let's look at this one right here with Mayra. And these are going to be written just like when we did the inequalities. We got to look for the variable. Are they adding or subtracting? And what is my total? Let's look for my total. So it says, Mayra plans to sell cookies at a craft show for $5 per box. $5 per box. Keyword. She also plans to babysit 2 days for a total of $45. Babysit for $45. She wants to earn at least 80. She wants to earn at least $80 between the cookies and the babysitting. Write an inequality for both, for the number of boxes that she needs to sell. And remember, just like before, what are we looking for? The number of what? The number of what? The number of boxes that she needs to sell. Is boxes repeating somewhere in this word problem? What do we know about the boxes? What do we know about the boxes? They're $5 each. Remember, every time you have a word problem, look at what the question is asking you to find. In this case, we want to know how many boxes she needs to sell. So that's going to be my variable. Very good. You got the, yeah. So this is going to be, first of all, how much does she wants to make? At least $80. So will she be happy if she makes $79? No. Will she be happy if she makes $80? Yes. What about $90? What about $50? No. So what inequality sign are we going to use? Let's go back to them and tell me, is it going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4? Is it going to be the top two or the bottom two? Which one? 4, more than or equal. She wants to make at least $80. At least. Can she make more than 80? Of course she can. So we're going to use this inequality sign. More than or equal to 80. Because if she makes less, she won't be happy. Now, what do we know that she's doing? How much is she going to get for babysitting? 45. And then how much per box? 5x, right? $5 per box. What are we going to do with those two? Add them or subtract them? Add them. Very good. So now we have an inequality that we can solve, right? So let's go ahead and solve it. Who's my friend and who's my family?
Friend is the 45.
Friend. Very good. What is it doing? Adding. And my family? But what is it doing? It's multiplying. Okay, so let's write my line right there. Let's get rid of the friend. What is the friend doing again? Adding. And the opposite is? Subtract. 45. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. This cancels out because that's your zero pair. 45 minus 45 is just 0. And on the right side, you get 35. Bring the inequality sign down. And then bring the 5b down because we haven't done anything with family. Now let's get rid of family. And what is the family doing? Multiplying. And the opposite of multiply is? So we're going to divide by 5. And what I do to one side? This is just 1b. 35 divided by 5 is? 7. 7 times 5 is 35. And my inequality sign doesn't have to flip because 5 is positive. I divide it by a positive number. So if she sells at least 7 boxes, she'll make $80. So let's graph this. Is it going to be open or closed? Close. Am I going to go to the right or to the left? Right. It's pointing to the right here. So it's going to go this way. I'm going to put in my 7 over here. So that means 6 and below is on this side. And 7 and greater are on this side. So if I put, let's say, 10 back into the equation. 5 times 10 plus 45. Is that at least $80? Let's see. 5 times 10 is 50 plus 45 greater than 80. I don't know. Let's see. This is 95. Is 95 greater than or equal to 80? Is greater than. So I'm good right there. If I put 7 right here, 7 times 5 is 35 plus 45 is 80. So 80 is greater than or equal to 80. So 7 is good. Let's try 6. 5 times 6. Just so that you can see why this is not an equation. I mean, this is not a viable answer. What's 5 times 6? 30. 30 plus 45 is? 75. So is 75 greater than or equal to 80? Nope. That's why 6 is not one of the answer choices. And you might have answer choices like they might not give you 7 as one of the answer choices. They might give you 6, they might give you 10, they might give you 15, and they might give you 0, whatever. So you got to check those into the equation to see which one actually are true, like we just did right now. Make sense so far? Pretty simple stuff, right? So what is the only one rule that we do? When you multiply or divide by a negative number, you flip the tortilla, flip the sign. That's the only rule. Now let me show you something again, just real quick because I have space over here. Let's say we have an equation like this, like that. Okay, this can be a problem when you graph it, if you don't follow logic, okay? This can be a problem when you graph it because it's pointing to the right or left? Right. It's pointing to the left. Yeah. So, but what side is my variable at? Is it on the left or right? Right. So at the end, you will have to flip the whole thing. Let me show you. So again, let's get rid of, let's do friends and family. So this is my friend, and he's doing what? Subtracting, and my family is doing what? It's dividing. Hold on, almost done. It's dividing. Look, we got a fraction. And the negative is, it doesn't matter which one you put it on. So I'm going to put the negative with the 5. It makes sense in a little bit. So let's get rid of the friend. What is the friend doing? So the opposite of subtract is add 3, add 3. This goes away. And 7 minus 3 is 4, but it has to be negative bring the inequality sign, bring x over 5. What is the family doing? Dividing. Okay? So we're going to divide, the opposite of divide is? So we're going to multiply by that negative 5. What I do to one side? So this cancels this away. You're left with x. And over here I have a negative and a negative. Happy or sad? Happy. So it has to be positive 20. But I multiply by what? By a negative. So that means that I have to flip this like that. Now, this is when you graph it. Is it going to be open or closed circle? Close. We're going to put 20 right here. Now the thing is it going to go to the right or to the left? Right. It's pointing to the right. So that means if I put 21, it should be my answer, right? Let's see. So if I have negative 7, less than or equal, negative 21, let's make it 25 to make it an even number. Because that's more than that, right? Negative 3. So this goes to be negative 5 minus 3, less than or equal negative 7. And then this is just negative 8, negative 7. Is negative 7 less than or equal to negative 8? Is negative 7 less than or equal to negative 8? Let's put it on a number line. My negative 7 is right here. My negative 8 is right there. My negative 10 somewhere over there. I have my 0 there. The more, yes.
This is for tomorrow, perfect attendance.
Okay.
This is Robinson, because you have them today, right?
Perfect. Thank you. So on this one, if you look at the number line, the more you go to the left, the smaller the number is. So in this case, 7 is actually more than 8 negatives. 7 is closer to 0, so this is bigger than that one. Make sense? So whenever you have the variable on the right, what I want you to do to avoid confusion, because this one will be, you're telling me that you wanted to graph it this way, right? And that wouldn't make sense. So let's see. What I want you to do is flip those whole thing around. So put x on the left, like a mirror. Flip the sign and flip the number. So now, it's going to be this way. And this is what? Positive 20, not negative. All right? So whenever you have the variable on the right, flip it, and that way you can see what way is it pointing to and graph it correctly. We good? All right, so we learn about the signs. We learn about a few words, open and closed circles. We know how to solve inequalities with the friends and family. We also know that when you will multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the sign to the opposite direction. And we also know how to write inequalities from word problems using the vocabulary. Anything else that we need to cover? I don't think so. I hope that you learned something today. If you didn't, please go back, watch the section that you need to watch again. And other than that, please subscribe, turn the notification bell on. That's going to wrap it up for today. And I'll see you on the next one. Let's ride. Goodbye.